But Perk just said something interesting. He said if Paul George went to Philly, all you got to worry about in the East is Boston and New York. Remember the Milwaukee Bucks? Remember them? Like, they were supposed to be pretty good. They got Damian Lillard, who was a big deal. Yeah. Giannis missed the whole playoffs. They fired their coach halfway through the season. They lost in the first round because of injuries. Like, they're still here, and they're under an enormous amount of pressure to find some way. They don't have a lot of picks to trade. They don't have a lot of cap. They have no cap space. How are they going to keep up with the Joneses in the East? Is it really just another year of seasoning for Dame and Giannis under Doc Rivers? Is that really it? Like, it feels like they got to do something, and I just don't know what it is.
How do you feel about signing minimum players?
Great. Good luck.
That's what they're heading towards.
So are you with Zach here that the team that cannot afford to miss out on whoever their target is the Milwaukee Bucks?
All right, assign blame. Who's the most at fault for our losing?
Chris Middleton.
This season,
tonight or the whole
what
season?
Is the biggest flaw? What if you had to point, and it doesn't have to be a player, I'm going to say that again. What is the biggest flaw in this team for this season? Not currently, but like over the season, where did we go wrong the most?
We lost our defensive identity.
And how did we do that?
Losing Drew, Carter, Matthews.
The players like just continued to embarrass the league so much that post All-Star break, they decided to call the game completely different. And now I'm putting
they sure did.
like
flopping, throwing your head back, 20 free throws a game.
Real question. Do you rock with these dudes? Because I think that's the most important thing.
I'm hesitant to bury this team, and I've been predicting a title all year. Like after every bad game, I'm like trophy. But there have been so many red flags.
Where do you want to start? You want to start with the Jason Tatum contract?
We're started. I hit record it. Go.
Go.
Oh, you mean the pump and dump that the Celtics are doing, where they're giving everybody $1 billion and then selling the team?
And they also signed White too. Didn't they give White a bunch of money today too?
Yep. White got paid. Everybody got paid.
So obviously we haven't talked since the unpleasantness. I don't know. How much do you hate the Celtics? Do we care, or is it still like? I mean, there's a Drew thing. I'm over it, but I don't know if anybody else feels different.
It's difficult to see them. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm not upset for Drew. The rest of the franchise.
That's how I feel too.
I don't care. You know, they had the easiest path to a championship.
Well, who are you? So who are you?
I don't get why people bring that up. I'm like, everybody's got to beat the teams that are in front of them. They have no control over that.
Who were you rooting for?
They won
in the playoffs.
Who was I rooting for besides the Bucks?
Yeah, in the finals or the Final Four, or like once it got to that point, who were you rooting for? Because I found myself hating to root for the Celtics, but I just hate Luka's fat, stupid face so much. He's like stupid, greasy. Like everything about him, I just can't stand at this point. He's like top 5 now. Who would the top 5 most hated players be actually? Like James Harden
or Draymond.
Oh, okay.
Draymond.
Harden, Draymond, probably Embiid. He's up there. All his flopping. I think all the floppers are largely hated. Draymond just because he's a head case, you know, and just can't keep himself under control for the benefit of his team. Self-destruction. People hate to see that.
We're talking in the NBA today.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. There's no rules. Who are the top 5?
Yeah, Embiid is definitely there. I can't stand Luka. He's just James Harden from Europe, basically. So those 3 guys right there. Jason Kidd, I can't find anything good about Jason Kidd anywhere, like as a player or even, I mean, as a coach. Like, I was great to watch him be awful in the finals.
You don't think he did a good job coaching?
Players League.
I feel like, I don't think what did he do to, like?
They were outmatched. They didn't have enough to compete. I mean, the Celtics had 2 or 3 better players than starting. You know, whoever was on the floor at any given time, they had 2 or 3 players that were just way outmatching whatever Dallas put on the floor.
I love to hate Porzingis
besides
too.
Luka and Kyrie.
I don't like it.
Love what?
I love to
Don't like
Porzingis.
Porzingis? That's odd.
Just
a tall, lanky dude who.
I just remember being the guy in the league when Giannis was kind of coming up, and it was like guys kind of oak on him all the time, and then Giannis tore his ACL or whatever allegedly he did or whatever, because Giannis is such a dirty player.
He landed on his foot, and that wasn't anything to do with Giannis. But yeah, that's what people said. I was rooting for the Timberwolves. That was like,
because of Ant or because of who?
I just like the makeup of the team. They were a fun group. They were scrappy, and I knew they weren't gonna make it, but I was rooting for the underdog on everybody. I knew that the Pacers weren't going anywhere either. What's his name? Just got hurt too much.
Halliburton's another one.
Tyrese Halliburton.
PJ McConnell. God, I love to hate that guy too.
He's good though. Gives you exactly what you pay him to do. Exactly. If we got out of Pat Connaughton, we might have made it past the first round.
So I think that I feel like so it's kind of the same thing with the Drew Dame trade. Like there's certain teams where guys can play a certain role and be excellent at it. White is another guy for like the Celtics. If James White, is it James White? What's his first name?
Derek.
He got
126.
Yeah, like if he went to the Lakers and you expected him to be a 25 or whatever, he's not going to be that same guy. And like everybody's talking about how great Drew is, blah, blah, blah. It's like he is amazing on the Celtics team. Like it's the third, fourth dude offensively. So yeah, I don't think he makes a difference for the Bucks this year. Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that the Bucks go further in the playoffs this season if you don't make the Dame trade. If you still have all the coaching changes, all the stuff you bring Doc, everything else, the only thing you removed was the Dame Drew trade, I would go further than the first round still.
Why? Because you don't think he'll score enough?
I just think they defensively everywhere else, injuries, they just didn't have enough. They didn't have enough defensively to defend Tatum and Brown and White and Porzingis. They're just slow. I mean, that's just the reality of the Bucks. Are just slow right now.
Porzingis didn't play, right?
He played in the finals.
He tried, and then
he won game one for him, though. That was kind of the thing. He won game one, and then he was kind of hurt after there.
Okay, that's right. And then he didn't. Then that was it.
Right. He had what he ended up with, and that was true. We all said that at the beginning of the season too. Like we'll see who's standing at the end injury wise because he's glass too. But I just don't think Drew makes the Bucks better than they ended up being.
Better as you're talking about if you swap them out for Dame or just
right. You just don't do that trade.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
Where do you think they end up? They don't make that trade. Giannis is still hurt.
I think they would have. I think they possibly could have made it through the first round. They could not defend. They just couldn't defend at all.
Without Giannis,
score teams.
Without Giannis against Indiana,
they would have made it through the first round.
You needed either Chris or Dame to be hurt, but you couldn't. The same thing for this year, but you can't have both of them play. They're just so bad at defense. You cannot have two of them. They can end the game, and this is why I continue to hope for six-man Chris, but you can't have Brook Lopez deciding whether he's going to run out to a three-point shooter and Chris and Dame. Like you just
so you would have had
to do way too much, more than he's been asked to do in a long time, with Dame not being able to stay in front of his guy, Chris not being able to move laterally.
It's just too much.
what's his name? Beasley couldn't stay in front of. I mean, it was just too much, and people are like, "Get rid of Brook, get rid of Brook." I'm like, okay, fine, but I mean, they don't understand the contract ramifications. I mean, nobody's going to give up anything for him, and then you're still left with trying to replace a defensive big because you don't want Giannis being that center for the entire season. You know, banging, trying to front giant men, especially like Embiid. They played him several times a year. I just don't think it would work out. I think that their best bet would, and nobody wants Pat, you know, and Bobby might get moved later in the year, but I don't think they're going to move him. I don't think they're going to do anything.
I don't think they're doing anything.
Doing what they're doing. Doing exactly what they're doing.
Top 5. I had to reset my internet or whatever, and I'm sure it still won't work great. Top 5 most hated players. Number 1 spot, new number 1 spot off the top of my head. Wembanyama should not exist. Can't wait till he gets hurt.
What?
Number 2.
That's ridiculous.
Number 2, Luka, and then from there you can backfill Harden, Marcus Smart, Embiid, whoever else you want. But
Chris Paul. Chris Paul's my ultimate number 1. Like, just
my dad.
How can you dislike a guy who is an inch or two taller than the tallest? I mean, they're all 7 feet tall.
He shouldn't be.
I don't understand.
Be. I don't like this selective breeding.
How is that?
I don't
all
like
skinny guys.
I don't care for it. I don't like.
I don't understand. He seems like he's a pretty decent dude. I mean, he don't talk a lot. He just bigger.
I like people who talk a lot. What I don't like people who look like creative players and who warp the game in a way that makes a comical joke out of it. I don't care for it. Like, it's stupid. I don't like it. Like, what's so great about Wembanyama? It's like, oh, look, he like,
I
seriously,
think it's that he's 7'4"
what's the appeal?
And able to move fairly decently for that height. You know, you don't really see that. I mean, especially for us growing up.
But why do I want to see that? Why do I want to see that though? I will never get sick of seeing 6'2" guys dunk, but it seems like they can barely dunk the ones who can like really dunk. I'll never get tired of seeing like the Nate Robinson guy that's in the league, and if I want to see athleticism, I'll see athleticism. I don't care about a guy who.
Why do you hate Marcus Smart then?
Well, I hate him too. I hate a lot of. They're.
I love to see Marcus.
I only have one live.
The top one.
I wish
I
have
dislike Wembanyama because he's too tall. That's just ridiculous.
I hope
this is hate based on what they do.
All the bad things in life happen to him and only him.
I hate him.
I hate him, dude. I hate it. I can't wait.
I hate that dude's 7'4" and
I hate
only
Ralph
6
Sampson.
foot.
I don't like get out of here with that, dude. Come on.
Manute Bol, that guy was a joker. I hate his
okay.
game.
So let's say it another way, because this is the thing. If Wembanyama, what would be a good one? If Wembanyama was like the greatest tennis player of all time, and he would just go to the net, and like nobody could stop him from going to the net and just stopping a bunch of shots, I would like to see that too for about a month, and then I would hope for him to blow out his knee because that's not tennis, right?
So you didn't like Shaq?
But see, Shaq was going up against another huge dudes. It was incredibly impressive.
Who was as big as Shaq?
No one was as big as Shaq.
Patrick Ewing was
no one,
dude.
but like he was still doing it. But like David Robinson looked like Michelangelo's David, and he could not stop Shaquille O'Neal. Like that was great. Like that was like the Predator, and it was like everybody threw themselves at Shaq, and a lot of times they would outflank him. But like that was fair. Like Wembanyama being able to take eight. I mean, again, is this the Wembanyama podcast? But like. No,
that's quite a hot take.
I hope.
What's the difference between him and Embiid?
Oh yeah, you're right. Embiid's still worse. But like I'm not. You act like I'm saying I want bad things to happen to his family. I just want bad things to happen to him.
You said I want him to blow out his knee.
Okay,
that's his family. Eventually, I mean.
Oh my goodness, he's worried about the pain. Wow, that's not basketball, man. I don't want to see it. Like it's ridiculous.
Okay. Number 2.
Everybody else. So
James Harden, Luka.
So Kendrick, how do you feel about Gary Wolfel? Getting
I didn't even comment on Gary Wolfel.
Getting his gravy train back and leaking the Jabari Parker that the Suns and the Bulls and the Bucks are interested in working out Jabari.
Oh, is that what that was? I don't pay attention to him. I don't follow
Did he
him.
really say that?
I haven't heard.
Yeah. So I want to have some fun with it because it's not going to happen. You know, who keeps?
Yeah. Gary Wolfel is one of the worst beat inside guys ever. I mean, he's like, he says stuff just to get clicks, and he is 99% of the time flat out wrong. He wants to be like a Stephen A type who just says outlandish things and gets all this interactions on socials, but he's just trash. I mean, he's one of the worst local covering beat writers ever. I wish I never even knew his name. That dude is terrible.
I mean, that's true.
Would you want to see Jabari Parker come back?
Sure.
Kind of vet men?
Crib answer.
Sure. For a vet, I mean, if he's the best player available to add to the team, sure. You know, where was he playing? Europe someplace or something? And he was
I
all
guess
up,
they won the championship wherever league that he was playing.
I don't know.
I don't.
He when he playing
Can
in
he
like
play defense?
Senegal or something like
No.
that? I don't know.
No, he still can't play defense.
No.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes maybe something reignites. You're over there and you realize that this isn't what you wanted to be doing. Maybe there's a different
they go
level
over
of
there
energy.
and they're like, they just love him for his scoring. They're okay with it.
Right.
I don't. I wouldn't want him back. I think that ship has sailed. He's been back twice. I mean, why bring him back a third time? That doesn't.
Yeah, didn't they sign him to the G League or something?
He was with the Bucks.
No, that was somebody else, right? I don't think.
Oh, I think it was just during the preseason. I don't know if he made the team. I think they let him go.
Oh, you're
I don't
right.
remember if he
You're right.
played,
That was some weird.
played.
Yeah, he didn't know. Not really, but yeah, there was something.
No, I
I
wouldn't
do
wanna see
feel
him
bad
come
for the guy. That interview was pretty
back. I
terrible.
don't feel bad for him. Dude did that to himself.
He can't control. He tore his ACL twice.
No, he can't. But he said, "I'm not here to play offense." That was one of his famous quotes.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not here to play defense. I mean,
everybody does sports wrong, though. This is what I'm saying. So you just heard me say that I wish ill on Wembanyama, and for whatever reason, I have like a soft spot for Parker, and like both things are fine. You don't need to like intellectualize it. It's just no. I don't want him. I don't want him on the team. But it is it's kind of funny to me, like, because like at this point, man, like we're not a dynasty. We're not anything.
No.
We had 21, and it gets flukier and flukier by the day. And so this is now just back to being like the Bucks TV show. And if an old character from season 3 comes back, it's like fine. But yeah, I don't know. Like, you want to talk about the draft? What do you think about the draft picks? I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's just like, yeah, cool. I don't know. I don't watch college ball. Highlights seem cool. People were really mad that they should have did this or that. I don't know. DeLon Wright. I don't know.
They just taking swings. They're just taking swings.
They certainly did. And I mean, at least it's an obvious swing instead of them like really trying to find somebody that they think will really be able to help them. I mean, these are just sincere. Let's get these guys. We think they got a little bit of something. Let's see if they develop. We'll see what happens. And if nothing happens, it was only pick 23 and 33. You know, I think they may have picked that one dude from Duke, the Mormon dude, as a center. I think they would have picked him, but I think he got picked one pick before the Bucks. So once that was gone, they went to this potential young 19-year-old kid who barely played in his own league because he's a butterfly. He's a bantamweight. Isn't that lower than butterfly?
I don't know.
I mean, he's just
welter light. No, light welter.
It's like
is Doc a guy who plays
167
rookies,
pounds, man. That's like 7th grade for me. Like and he's what, 6'5", 6'6". He won't be able to defend at all legitimately in the league, He's got to put on 20 pounds.
What was Giannis?
I don't remember. But yeah, I don't.
Crazy, but Probably more like
Yeah,
6'8",
the
6'8",
picks,
195 or something like that.
it's clearly let's just see what happens, and if they turn out, we can get them to develop. They can be contributors on a team post Giannis or post Chris and Dame and all. But I don't. They're not going to be contributing within the next year or two.
The Tyler Smith highlights were sort of intriguing, but again, the thrill is gone to me. I don't know. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I think a lot of people were saying that they were mad, but if some kind of way they would have taken Tyler Smith first at 23 and then Johnson at 33, somehow that would have made people happier, I was hearing. But
Giannis was 6'9" at 190.
Wow,
Now
that's a big
he's
difference.
7 foot and about 240 pounds.
That's a big
It's a
difference.
huge difference.
I don't
know if we
anything after the top 10 picks, man. You might even see after the top 6 picks really doesn't make a difference in the NBA anymore, I don't think. So, I think what they're really just trying to do is just get some young guys in there. They're going to run it back. Maybe they can do something with Middleton, but
I think their whole goal this year will be to field a team, try to keep everyone healthy, and try to make a sincere run once the postseason starts. If they can get everybody on the same page,
Middleton's trade value will never be as high as it was, even though we're, 3-10 in our last 13 playoff games or whatever it is.
What do you make of the Dame wasn't in shape last year?
Dude, thank you for bringing that, because I was like, I feel like we already ran out of stuff to say. And it's like, what? Kendrick, as our medical professional, or just again, we like, how long does it take? I feel like I could train to climb Mount Everest in a month. How long does it take to like get in NBA shape?
Well, I don't know. I never played it, but I mean, this is not an uncommon thing that guys have said. When they come into camp late, out of shape, they struggle the whole year. A lot of times, some guys get injured because they came into camp not in shape, and then they push their body, and they're in game situations where they're not listening to their body, and they go way further than they wanted to, or they're able to, and they wind up getting injured. So I buy into that a little bit. I just find it hard to believe that, and that's like I say, we're just fans, but like even like you see like Luka, like that dude never looks in shape. And he even said a lot of players at the end of as it was winding down, it was clear they weren't going to win. Commentators, former players were like, he just needs to come in better shape. So I think there's a lot of weight to what he is saying. But Dame also had a lot of stuff going on off the court. That has a lot to do with it. Then they went through three coaches this year. I think that had more to do with it than him not being in shape. He just ran out of gas, and I think that was not coming in his ready state. But also the different coaching changes, just trying to figure out how to play with everybody. We'll see. He's claiming he's going to be in the best shape of his career next season. You wait. So we'll see. I was never, you guys know, I was never super high on the Dame trade. If they had got rid of Chris instead, which, that you got to get the other teams to want what you don't want, but they wanted Drew. I think that it would have worked out a lot better. You could not, because they signed Beasley first, and I think that was with the idea that they were going to keep Drew. But once they signed Dame, it was. I hated the way that team even looked on paper, because I didn't know it was that bad, but I had no idea he was that big of a liability defensively. He's just not very good at it. He'll get a couple steals here and there, but for the most part, he was leaving Brook on an island, man. And Giannis, they're turning around. I mean, it just seemed like that just went on the whole year. People they cleaned up a little bit when Doc got here, but I don't know.
Okay, but again, explain this to me like I'm 6 years old. You have a walk around just about every day. There's travel and stuff like that. You're eating late at night. You know, people are getting it in different ways. I understand the culture, and I understand that maybe everybody doesn't take it as seriously. Clearly, Luca like has milkshakes in a Gatorade bottle or whatever. So that's like a whole other thing, right? But you're Dame Lillard, you're not even that fat. You're playing NBA games and you're playing 35 minutes. If you
You're playing games every day.
if
I
you
don't know
do,
why you can't get in shape
if
through
you
the season. I don't get it.
every time you're on the court, you're not eating and you're drinking water, right? If you do suicides, you should be in shape in 2 weeks. You have one guy on one end of you do a layup and the other guy passes you the other ball. You sprint to the other side. You do another layup, you sprint to the other side, shoot a 3-pointer, sprint back. Like it's just, I feel like you would be in shape in like 4 days doing that. I don't, I think this is just a thing that these dudes say, but if it's 2 months, like when do we get them? Last October? Like
Right
going
before
into
the
the
ready to
season in
begin.
November?
Yeah. A couple of weeks
Yeah, like
before
2
the
weeks
season.
before the season began.
He was all I'm saying is he was mentally distressed because of
That's what
whatever.
it was.
But like, don't tell me you can't get in shape in a month. I do not believe that.
I agree.
So is it he's out of shape, a little bit out of shape physically? I mean, I can understand him not working out hard when he thinks he's getting traded, right? I can understand that.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
is
even
it out of
understand
shape
that.
mentally and physically? You know, he does not like being in Milwaukee.
You don't
I
think
mean, I
so?
think that no, I mean when you hear him, I don't think he likes being in Milwaukee yet.
I
I'll
don't
say it
think he
like that.
necessarily hates it, but he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
No,
So he'll say like, "This is the best place for me basketball wise. This is
Mm-hmm.
the best basketball situation." You know, Giannis loves playing basketball here, but I think he also likes the city. Like I think he does appreciate the size of the city and the quietness in his world. You know, he gets to be a hero.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's Dame's style. I think he really would have been excited to be in Miami for a lot of different reasons, but I think all
I
that
think
stuff
that
plays a toll on what these guys are trying to, you know. I'm staying at home playing video games all night. Like, yeah, these guys.
he's
If
at
it's not the right place for you physically and mentally, it's gonna be a struggle, right? Until you get used to it, if you can.
he was at home
time
eating
will
ice
tell.
cream.
Next year it'll show itself. You know, we'll see what happens.
I still think we can be in the Final Four next year. If you told
Yeah,
me
I do too.
we could be, it could be Bucks Nuggets. Yeah, I mean, I keep saying Bucks Nuggets. This year should have been Bucks Nuggets. Like the Nuggets choked away and like messed up the whole finals because Celtics Nuggets would have been awesome. But
I think the Nuggets actually got weaker this year too. I think they're going to have a. I mean, they
Yeah, they
did it this
lost.
year, but
They
they
lost.
lost two of their guys. They lost
Yeah.
Caldwell Pope and I got to look it up. Yeah, we'll see. I think that they can make it to the Final Four. They definitely can make it past the second round for sure. I mean, you know, past the first round. I don't. I think that they'll do that if they can all stay healthy. I mean, I think they would have did that if Giannis could have stayed healthy. But for the second year in a row, dude gets hurt at the end of the year.
okay, question.
So
the
and
second
now
year,
he's
man.
playing in Greece, or you know, he's playing
It's got to be in shape.
for their Olympic thing. So he must have healed up from that calf injury. I hate that he's playing there. I wish that he would just let his body recuperate and take some time off. Let those knees get fresh. But
Do you feel that we're being unfair to that? Because I guess there's a part
a
of me
little
that,
bit. I'm being selfish for sure.
well, also they can't win, right? Like it's not like
They're not going anywhere.
they're
No.
not they're not
Yeah.
they're not Argentina with Manu or whatever those teams
Mm-hmm.
were. They're not going to win. It's just he's just going to go there and have 500 collisions and take a flight home.
Yep.
Mm.
I'm all right
Yeah,
with
I
it.
believe that. You're okay with them playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it speaks a lot
I'm
to his
not.
level of loyalty that he has. I think it only bodes well long term for him staying in Milwaukee. It speaks to his character, I think, because he doesn't owe Greece anything,
Right.
you know. So So if that's, now with the second he gets injured, everybody will be, of course, up in arms if you have a serious injury. But I think there's something to be said about his injury history now at the end of the season. We had the bubble, we had last year, we had this year, and we had the final year, where that was an unfortunate injury. I don't think there was anything he could do about that. But I mean, there's 4 postseasons now where he's had injuries that have, in many cases cost them an opportunity. So there's something about how he plays regular season or what he's doing that the team needs to figure out, I think, for him.
Well, I'm clearly talking out of both sides of my mouth. Like, I don't really think when you see these guys, again, I just said people should be in shape. I also don't like the culture of like working out on game days is like an established thing and everything like that. But it's like these guys are, to me, like, they're so fine tuned. They don't like Giannis doesn't have any fat on his body, but he keeps getting like all this soft tissue stuff. Or I mean, some stuff. It's not even so much his fault. But like, I guess what I'm saying is the last injury, right? If I told you he wasn't listening to his body in the last week, everybody would believe that, right? Like you couldn't prove it or nothing. But it's just like, yeah, he's gonna go. He's just gonna keep going, and it's really like not great odds that like it's just gonna work for 82 games plus whatever. Dag, I don't know.
The year they won the year they won the championship, the finals, I think that was a 72 game season. They came out of the bubble and they had a shorter season because the turnaround was quick. That's 10 regular season games less.
It's such a blur.
Yeah. So
I thought that they just had a really short off season. I think they started it back up at the regular time. I'm looking it up now.
But I think the season was shorter number of games.
Well, the choke of all chokes was where we had that Orlando where the first full COVID year, we were 52-8, then COVID. Then we come back. Now, I remember I was in Colorado where it was like Chris was like 0 for 1,000 against Orlando, and we were 1-1 against Orlando, and it's like seemed like Orlando was going to take us 6 or 7, which led into Giannis touching Jimmy's oblique, and where it was about to be 1-1, and then we what was it 0-2, and then we lost that one in 5. Then we come back and win the championship. Then lose to the Celtics. Then first round, basically, right?
Yeah.
And they haven't been healthy in the playoffs.
72 games.
Yeah. And they haven't been healthy in the playoffs.
Games. No, they haven't. Not in a while. Somebody is always hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were fortunate that Drew and Middleton were able to carry him through when he got hurt 2021. And, man, something has happened every year since then. The following year, Middleton was out. And then we barely had Middleton this year, and they were nursing him along. He finally comes in, plays out of his mind in the playoffs, but there was nobody else there. I think he played very well offensively, but we just had nobody else, and that's all I had to do.
You just can't win. You just can't win that way.
Yeah, no, you can't.
I think that's
not when the other team has their 3 weapons. I could see if the other team lost 2, but our bench was so nothing this year. I mean, Bobby did his thing. Didn't he lose his cool in one of those games? Get kicked out.
Rejected.
So yeah. I don't want to forget this because that's the Draymond thing.
Yeah.
You can never not see it once you're like, oh, Portis is legitimately crazy. Because I don't think he carries himself too crazy on the court. You just think you think of him more like a Pat Bev type, although Pat Bev certainly lost his cool too. But you don't see too much of crazy Bobby. Like he's down to fight, whatever, but he's not the most intimidating guy on the court a lot of the time. But dude,
he's barely gonna let somebody get up in his face. And that dude,
he imploded.
Whatever. He shouldn't have did it. He should have chilled out. but he didn't, and he cost them that game.
But he was awful before that. That was just like the cherry on
The frustration, yeah.
He just couldn't.
Yeah,
He was doing that. Brooke wasn't running out the shots. You know, Dame wins this game 1, and it's just it was just. I don't want to talk about this. Did
so
anything else
next season?
Yeah, next season.
What do we got? You think
Chris Dunn just went?
They got to get somebody. I don't think they still don't have enough players unless they're playing like these new guys. Unless they're really seriously going to play like
Beauchamp,
AJ Beauchamp, or Ajax, or this.
I think two of those guys are going to get legitimate minutes,
more playing time.
I mean, I think the reality of what you're starting to see. I'm a huge Bobby fan. I do like Draymond. I think Bobby and Draymond are real similar in the fact that you love having them on your team.
He's so unlikable.
But you hate playing against those guys.
Yeah.
I think that Ajax minutes should be, Bobby's minutes should be going to Ajax, and AJ's, should be getting the minutes over Pat Connaughton. Those are two guys that you can move on to because you have those guys in the wings. The problem, I think, losing Bobby is the guy traditionally comes in when you need him to get you buckets. He can get you buckets, coming off the bench.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't think it was so much. The Pacer series was primarily his fault, and you could convince me of anything going from there. But the problem is he's pretty good as a 6th, 7th man. Mm-hmm. He offers a lot. He's been better generally than we think. We came from the Knicks. I remember it was Zach. I remember where I was when we got him from the Knicks, and they're like, "Hey, the thing about Portis is he'll have 6 weeks where it just looks like basically an all-star." It's and every year he's had stretches where he's been our second best player for a month. But it just, I mean, even going back to the Celtics 2022, when Short Arms T-Rex man loses us Game 7, whatever that dude's name was, the other Williams, right? That's the thing. That should have been AJ Green for us, but it wasn't AJ Green from us. We don't have, aside of Brent Forbes. I mean, it was kind of the thing. We had the one Game 5 was the last hurrah where Malik gets hot and Chris gets hot and Bobby goes nuts, but it's just. I think the problem with Doc this year will continue to be the thing, because when AJ Green is hitting, he can play a little bit of defense, so you're always going to want to put AJ Green in. But I don't. I guess I believe that Marjan isn't that good because people say he isn't that good, and it seemed like Ajax lapped him. And I just didn't feel when you see Marjan I just don't see the explosiveness in his jump on the break. He looks like. I don't know. You'd see him on the break.
I don't think his basketball IQ is very high.
That's what people say. And again, I didn't watch every second of every game. But
he looks very lost. He makes really poor. His decision making is really poor.
I've heard around town that he's a pothead. That he's just constantly high, and he's just. They're like, man, if this dude is this high every time I see him, I wonder if he's high when he's practicing that, trying to do his job, So, but I don't know. I've never seen it. I've never witnessed it. It's just stuff I've heard from somebody who does some personal man care for him.
I got you. That's the scoop.
It's just maybe that's part of it. I have no idea, man. It's just
so that he wouldn't be the first NBA player.
The Bucks have not hit on somebody. Yeah, it's just a regular. I mean, that's just the world today. Everybody smokes weed. Yeah, I mean, JRE was. What was it? JR. What was his name?
Right.
What was the guy?
Pick a JR. JRE. JR Ryder. JR Smith.
The one that played with Cleveland for a long time. JR Smith. Right. Yeah.
JR Smith.
And that dude, he was high. He was acting a fool. Anyway, I don't think anything's there with Marjan, even on his best days. I'm he does this, but he doesn't move that great laterally.
He doesn't move that. He
gets blowed by, and it's you're young, you're in your prime, and you can't do this. You can't. and you see Beasley, I mean not Beasley, but Beverly do a better job defending than you, and here you are at 21, you know. So I just don't have a lot of. They haven't hit, man. I mean, AJ Green is about the best, brightest thing they've had since
Ajax.
a. I don't.
Bring back Johnny Mac. Bring
As a
back Johnny
defender,
Mac.
sure. As a defender, sure. But you know, I'm just saying somebody who can give you a little bit on both sides. Ajax is not a very good offensive player at all.
No.
So
that's true.
I'm just talking about.
They're just going to run it back
Ajax,
unless you can train Middleton for something that's worthwhile. They're just going to run it back. Maybe this kid that they signed today, I shouldn't call him a kid. He's a little bit older. Hey, what, 32, 33, right, or whatever. Maybe he provides you a little bit more athleticism defensively, but
yeah, supposedly Wright was pretty good defensively.
They're going to have Philadelphia's season that Philadelphia just had. That's what I think.
You think so?
How so?
That's
what I think. Like this upcoming season, it's like a lot of things need to adjust and change and shift, but we just don't have. We're not ready to do it naturally, you know. Yet.
You guys okay with what's our boy that just moved from Philly to? You said he's an underrated player. Moved
Tobias?
from Philly back to Detroit. Tobias
Harris. That guy, he is
Paul
so
George.
Underrated.
Dude's got.
Same guy.
Have one of the best agents. One of the best agents ever.
My phone is going off 1,000 times, and I'm thinking there must be a trade. And you fools are like arguing about Paul George versus Tobias Harris. Like come on,
it's the same guy.
I think it's the same dude. I think it's a push.
Playoff T. No, man, come on.
But I mean, because first of all, guy, playoff P, he ain't gonna make it through the whole season. He's gonna miss 20 games.
He don't play no defense either.
He doesn't play any defense. I mean, they're going to be struggling, man.
But again, Kendrick, though, I'm saying, though, it's just like your job or anything else. If the culture is missing work, you're going to miss work too, right? Like, it's the thing. Like, Kawhi's missing all those games. He's going to miss. Like, everybody, like, you get it, right? Like, I wouldn't be any better. I'm just saying, like, the Clippers don't show up for work, man. Like, that's their whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, Paul George is a small G great player, but he's a great player. He couldn't maintain it.
Great player.
He's a good player. He's a good player. I would not put him at great at all.
Yeah. So here's what I'm saying. In the same way that McGrady was like first team All NBA, and you're like, wow, look at the dudes he was next to, and he's like first team All NBA next to Kobe and Wade or whatever the year. Paul George was first team, second team All NBA. Next to 2017 LeBron and Kawhi and all those guys. Like when Paul George was on, he was at that level. Now, he was the fakest. I mean, it's the Kirk Cousins thing. He was the fakest part of the first tier. Or the Niners quarterback now, right? Like, you can't, like, he was the Brock Purdy of that group. But you're like, wow, Brock Purdy's having the third best year or whatever. But that's what it was. But, like, if you look, like, if Brock Purdy keeps it up, you'll look over 7 years and you'd be like, oh, I guess that guy kind of was like Drew Brees, but
yeah.
So that's Paul George, little G great.
Yeah.
Did you
or big G just good?
Yeah. I think he's on the it's like if Bobby's at the low end of good, Paul George is on the high end of good. That's what it is.
Yeah, I can get with that.
No, Paul George was excellent. He's Jason Tatum. Like, it's Jason Tatum, right?
Sure. If Jason Tatum isn't great either.
But if Paul George, well, that's what I'm saying, though. That's exactly what I'm saying. Dog, he gets some calls, too. I know, that's how I know how people feel with Giannis. At least Giannis is, like, moving at a high rate of speed. Jason Tatum is, like, pushing 7 feet. And they gave that Joker all the call. Like,
chicken wing in, like, a mug. I mean,
right.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. He doesn't have the strength, so he's just pushing guys. And whining when he doesn't get a call. Like, you did that to yourself.
He moves so awkwardly. Is it just me, or does he just look so awkward? All of his movements on the court. And nothing looks fluid. Nothing.
Okay, so Crib, imagine that, and then add another 17 inches, and that's Wembanyama. And why do I want that? Well,
Oh.
it's so cute. Like it's like they taught like a chimpanzee to like play basketball. And we're like, oh, that's so cute. Like I don't care. Like, it's like they taught a giraffe how to play ball, and we're like, oh, look at his little crossover and everything. That's
It's
adorable.
like the Toys R Us logo,
Yeah,
playing basketball.
It's
Jeffrey
all
Jeffrey the
that's how
giraffe.
all the guys over 7 feet to me. You know, that's why people are like, oh, what's the most exciting play in basketball? People talk about it's the dunk, and I'm like, that's the most basic things all these dudes should be able to do. That was the first thing all of them wanted to do as they were getting taller and taller and taller was dunk. That
What's the
doesn't
most
impress me.
impressive play in basketball then?
I have no idea, but it's not a dunk.
What makes you stand up?
You think it's
like,
a dunk?
What's no? I think it's a legitimate
This
question.
is
Actually,
such a
like
crazy
I don't
conversation.
like. What do you think is the best? What's the thing that gets you most pumped watching the game?
What would you appreciate? What is more impressive, the dunk or one of Curry's 3-point shots?
Well,
I
don't ask me that.
With somebody in his face, back, not that 3-step back step, but I'm talking about just seriously solidly defended and he's shooting this up. What's more impressive? A dunk by a 6'9" dude with a 7'1" wingspan,
Right.
Still a dunk.
or a guy that's able to make a jumper anywhere on the court.
So I think the most impressive.
But they talk about the dunk. Oh wow! It's like,
I think the most impressive play
Crazy
to
take.
me is any time that there's a and one of any kind.
not any kind. Some of these.
Well, I mean,
a
legitimate foul. A legitimate foul.
Yeah.
Like a legitimate
Okay.
foul. Okay, so not a made up one, but I still love.
I can get with that.
I think it was Giannis had it. Was it year they won the championship where he like hung and then like did he switch hands kind of in the air? You remember the Jordan switch hand?
Yeah.
Like I think that's one of the most impressive. I don't think that was an and
That's more exciting to me than a dunk.
Yeah, for sure. Or like any type of reverse where they come underneath and they get, they're moving around the rim. I think that's probably impressive. And a Curry like 4-point play where he legitimately gets fouled. Not someone stood underneath him and all that, whatever. But like where he legitimately gets hit going up with it. I think those are some of the most impressive plays. So an and one dunk where like you're legitimately dunking on somebody where they really fouled you and you aimed it in their eye like that. That's impressive.
Here's the problem. I'm gonna say something real stupid, but I'm gonna say it real deliberate, like it's smart. The problem psychologically with the 3-pointer is there's a part of you, it's not the money ball anymore. So like when a guy gets it, like the ball gets rotated and Bobby's in the corner for a 3. When he makes it, you should be elated, but like a wide open 3, like it gets rotated and somebody falls down and then Brook Lopez has a wide open 3, right? When he makes it, there's a part of you that's like relieved. And it should be just like, oh, wow, it should be like a 50-yard touchdown pass, but it's not anymore because they shoot so many of them. And whereas like now in a weird kind of way, it's inverted where like the fadeaway 2-pointer is like because it's kind of a bad shot. So it's like, oh, wow, here we go. It's like actually the risk is with like the 17-footer or whatever. But like with a 3-pointer, when a guy makes it, you're like, okay, finally, and you're not where it was like originally conceived to be like this elation play, like this great. And now they just do it every single time. And you don't really, I mean, you're happy when it goes in, but you're like, your reaction is like, he better make that, as opposed to whatever. So it's still the dunk. So real quick, did you ever watch X-Men 97?
Yes.
Yep.
Scale of 1 to 10. Cribs got.
Oh, that's what we didn't get to. Cribs got to go. We didn't get to that.
I'm still trying to remember.
We didn't get to your favorite show, The Acolyte, either.
Oh, dude, man.
That is, dude. Yeah,
let me tell you.
I have no reason to have
let me tell you
Disney
something.
Plus at this point. And X-Men 97 did make me like renew my subscription. Yay. X-Men 97 was on a scale of 1 to 10, and I can't pick 7. It's a 6 best.
It was a 7. It was cool. I liked it. It was cool. It had some nice.
It was nostalgic. It was nostalgic. The story wasn't bad either. I thought the story was good. Animation was way better than the stuff in '92, but the storyline was pretty good. I thought.
Wait, did you watch? Are you joking, or did you watch the Acolyte? I haven't.
If you were in Star Wars, would you be on the light or the dark side?
Dark side.
Yeah, 100% dark side. Dark side user right here. So sorry, but the dark side is cooler.
It just is.
The dark side is pleasure, biological, and temporary, and easy to achieve. The light side is joy, everlasting, and difficult to achieve. One is selfless, one is selfish, and you want to keep them in balance. What happens when you go to the dark side is it goes out of balance, and then you get really selfish and you forget about everybody. And
I really like the gray Jedi code. The gray Jedi code, and like I am just kind of a diplomatic person.
The best parts about Star Wars is there is no good or evil. Depends on what side you're standing on, truly. You know what I mean?
I would be both. I guess I'd be gray, you know?
It being able to access your emotions, but using your emotions for good.
Because when you get selfish, you get stuff. Or you want stuff. And when you want stuff and you get stuff, then you are afraid somebody's going to take it away from you. Whether it's a person or a thing or a particular pleasure, experience. Once you become afraid that somebody's going to take it away from you or you're going to lose it, then you start to become angry.
Just like Mother Anna say, I would be questioning the whole system of saying what is light and what is dark. I think definitely Jodie Tanner-Smith would be like not existing inside of either side.
I guess I'd be gray, you know, but my lightsaber would be red. Okay. I don't know.
People are going to see this and be like,
Acolyte's terrible.
I've seen.
Already got
I've
better.
seen 3 episodes.
It hasn't gotten better.
No, they didn't get better. I watched a little bit of the last one. What happened? All the bad guys revealed who is really. He's a Sith.
Allegedly.
And he is.
There was a haircut. There was a haircut in the episode.
Was that real? I saw that GIF. Is that a real thing?
That's a real haircut.
She cuts
her hair with the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. This is the weapon of a Jedi. We use it to line you up.
It's to me. I think the worst part about it is like I'm trying to be. I know some people might say it's sexist. I don't care. Have a female lead. Have her be awesome. You know, I love it. You know, that doesn't bother me. It's just that I think that these people that they have put in charge of Star Wars are doing their best to, excuse my language, but to the canon. Anything that was done, they're doing their best to try to jam their own belief system, their own ideology into the Star Wars mythology. They're doing their best to try to jam that in there instead of telling a simple, good story. And I for the life of me, tell me why this Sith Lord just mollywops like what was it? It was like six, 7 Jedi. I mean, he is just destroying them.
Because the Jedi
saying he's not fighting fair. He's not this.
Yeah, it's just not good.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. Even if you made this a non-Star Wars, you made it a cop show instead or a detective show. It's just I don't know. It's a little.
If I knew nothing of Star Wars, this show would still suck.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to get sick and I'm going to catch up on all this, but they lost me with the Mythosaur, and I haven't gone back for any of this stuff, right? But I mean, it couldn't have been worse than Reva, right? And all of that.
Oh, it's worse than that. It's worse than Obi-Wan. It's bad. It's real bad.
It's bad on a level, Ben, where it's just like what I don't know how much you're going to air this, but it's like you can just tell it's just this woman. She's been put in charge of it. She has an agenda, and she doesn't even care that much. She's like, "Tell me if I do this, if I can I do this?" And they're like, "Well, why would you do that?" "Well, just tell me if I can, if that'll make sense within the Star Wars thing. Is this a possibility? Could somebody?" Well, yeah, kind of, but why do you want to?
All right, I'm going to do it.
A bunch of witches, and then they call it the thread instead. But you
I
don't use it as a weapon, but we're going to push you. we're gonna use it as a weapon. I mean, they're just contradicting themselves left and right.
Yeah, there's no cohesiveness. It's like no one thought it out. It's just really bad, and I don't know what her background is like. To allow her to
she's done
to allow her to
nothing
make this
before this. I don't know why she's gotten so much.
I don't know.
Been given
it's bad.
The reins to something so important for Disney because.
And I'm surprised they said Kathleen Kennedy still got a job. Honestly, like I mean, I'm trying to think of a movie that she put out that's been good. I guess technically you had Episode 7 and you had Rogue One. Those are probably the best
things. It's only because
things.
she was with Lucas for such a long time, before it was sold. It's just holding on to her because as long as she wants to work there.
I don't remember who said it, but some guy on YouTube said it, and I think that's the thing that is killing Star Wars more now than ever is like people don't care. Yeah. Like when Acolyte came out, I mean, I was like, oh, that's coming out. Like I feel like when Mandalorian came out, it was like, oh, we're gonna do a watch party. Who wants to come over and watch the first episode of Mando? Is like no one cares now.
Nobody cares.
If the Star Wars movie was coming out tomorrow, would you go? Would you be like, I got to go see the midnight show of a new Star Wars movie?
And that's the craziest part is that
nobody cares.
They're trying to use this to hold up Disney because they put all this money into it, but they're all true Star Wars fans. Not all, but a good portion of Star Wars fans. And they're not getting younger. The young people that are watching, they can't watch something that takes more than 15, 20 minutes, longer than a tick. I mean, that's a super long YouTube video that drives them crazy. I just don't think that they're thinking about this very well, especially, when you see all these streaming services trying to conglomerate and pair up and all this stuff, because nobody's subscribing to these things. They're dropping them left and right. There's no you're not tied to it. Yeah. Disney is going up on their rates. I was just like, I don't need this.
There's better stuff elsewhere. All right, fellas. I gotta roll.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
Andor will still be. Andor
the best show that they put out.
It's so good. I almost don't want to see season 2 because I think all they'll do is like I don't want it even to just be half as good. But
yep. That's how I watched Mando the whole thing the other day, and it got worse and worse. I don't know why they just didn't let this kid go. just let this baby Yoda
Andor will
go.
be good because of the director.
Visit him once in a while, but like this constant babysitting of this kid, it like destroyed the whole. Like the Mandalorian he's a bounty hunter. Let him go and bounty hunt. Let him go on these adventures. That was the cool part about it. It was like a modern space western, But now with a kid, with a baby,
much
puking and
2 men
wants
and
to
a
play
baby
with a little toy.
I'll see you, fellas.
Much
like
Giannis and Middleton, like the bounty hunter and the Muppet, like have just the love affair that had to be what the show was about. So yeah, man, that was cool. That was cool. Let me hit stop. Shoot. Back whenever we're back, or not.